Hi, everyone. It's Orit Esther from Orit Talk and OramunaEnergy.com. And we are going through a beautiful transformational period. We're edging in to Purim, and from Purim, we are going through a journey and process that maybe some of us haven't even tapped into consciously, not knowing that there is so many healing opportunities that are awarded to us through Purim, up until Purim, and from Purim heading towards Pesach. And I want to talk about that a little bit because we really do sort of step into this new place by the time we get to Pesach. Adar and Purim is all about the happy me. And from Purim, we go to a different place. We expand even more to a free me. And this is at the foundation of a beautiful program called Happy Me, Free Me, a once a week online program called Happy Me, Free Me, where we meet 3 times once a week, and we discuss each week another step in the 3-step transformational process brought down by the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, the process that's called surrender, separate, and sweeten. And we focus on an issue, a triggered emotion, a relationship, somewhere we feel stuck, and that we want to free ourselves from it. And we utilize the time in that way. For those who can join the program, I highly encourage you to do that. For those who can't, or even those who will, let's talk a little bit about what this energy that we're going to be experiencing from Purim to Pesach is all about. So in Adar, we know that one of the reasons why we rejoice was because our souls experienced a redemption. The nation of Israel was saved from being, God forbid, wiped out. Jews were living through the empire of Ahasuerus, and with that, and Haman at the head, we were facing certain death. And there was a miraculous turn of events, as we know, and the threat was removed, and the Jews were saved. And because of that, right, the Jews celebrated everywhere. And the Jews at this time, what they had done was they renewed their commitment to observing Torah and bonding with Hashem. That was essentially the turn of events. And that was a tremendous time of overwhelming happiness. You see, during the month of Adar, we don't just rejoice because we were physically saved from death, but we rejoice because our souls experienced a redemption. We finally got it. The soul's energy finally was exposed, and we repented, we recognized and raised our commitment level to Hashem and Torah to very new levels that we weren't on or experiencing before that. So Adar is a time of happiness due to the spiritual redemption. And just like in Av, we mourn that we recognize that there was a spiritual loss in our life. In Adar, we celebrate because we recognize the spiritual gain of how much we benefit from bonding and coming close to Hashem. We essentially attained such closeness with Hashem, we realized we're living in the presence of Hashem all of the time. And so that's why the happiness of Adar is called Holy Simcha, Simcha Diktusha, the revelation of the good that was hidden beforehand. Because why? Why was it revealed to us? Because we took responsibility. We took responsibility for our actions. We turned back to Hashem and we showed him that we yearn to come back. We showed him, I want you back in my life. I'm lacking the essential spiritual nourishment, and I need you back in my life. And that's Adar and Purim. That's why we're happy, because we woke up, right? What does Haman say? Yeshno am echad mefuzar. Yeshno, one of the commentaries of it is Yeshno from the word Yoshen, sleeping. The Jewish people are sleeping. What happened in Adar before Purim? What saved us? We woke up. We woke up and smelled the coffee. We realized, oh, wait a minute. We haven't been paying attention to the truth. And so that's the energy that we want to tap into at Purim. And then we take that energy and we expand. We expand to Pesach. a time of freedom, the world of freedom. Now, the world of freedom is identified in Kabbalah with the sphere of understanding, of Bina, the left side of the brain. Because something happens to us in Pesach, where as we're cleaning, as we're getting rid of the chametz and the inflated egos, we're recognizing once again, we're understanding once again how important it is for us to go back to the simple connection of the soul, and that essentially all happiness, all contentment, all healing, everything we've ever wanted is in soul. Whereas we're going out and we're looking for it in all kinds of different areas, that inner dimension of joy that we experience in Pesach comes from a heightened, sensitive level of understanding. A heightened level understanding that Hashem took us out and takes us out every time we find ourselves crushed and stuck in the corner. Every time we are in Mitzrayim, in our dire straits, we recognize that Hashem is with us and He is leading us out of it. And every time we experience our own personal redemption, and all of us can sit down and probably just close our eyes and just think about how many times do we feel like this was it. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And then we celebrated, we recognized, we experienced Hashem's awesome, compassionate, loving hand, and we were taken out of that situation. I don't know. We could say to ourselves, I don't know. Somehow, some way, it all worked out. How many of us have experienced that? So we need to know that every time we have experienced that, we have officially experienced the first commandment. Ani Hashem Elokecha asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim, mibet avadim. We experience the idea that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, because what is Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim means that I am limited. I feel stuck. I don't know how to exit this. I don't know where my salvation is coming. Where's my freedom? How am I going to free myself from this? So the world of freedom, the sphere of Bina, is essentially the liberation from all limitations of reality. We exit the laws of gravity and all logic and everything that weighs down on this world, and we're able to build Bina. We're able to build a very deep level of understanding, a new outlook of life, and recognize that it's Hashem who's Otzeticha mi'etz Mitzrayim. It's Him. So the world of freedom is the world of pure intellect, and that's what generates joy. The production of joy, or the revelation of joy, comes from that power of contemplation. I use my chokhmah, my bina, my dat, my understanding, my wisdom, my understanding, my knowledge. I recognize that life is about me perceiving Hashem in all those places in my life. And then I understand that I am free. I'm free. How do we experience freedom? Freedom is experienced in the brain. We are free to perceive our reality by joining with Hashem and recognizing that He is part of our reality. He is reality. He's surrounding reality. He is the reality. He's the only truth. Everything else is a lie. Everything else changes. Ani Hashem lo shiniti. Hashem doesn't change. What does He not change? His commitment to taking us out of Mitzrayim. We have to understand that there is no objective reality. Anything that we're experiencing in life, there's only a subjective one that's played only on the backdrop of a program that we've either inherited from family tree or that we've been conditioned to think. So we have the ability, and we know this from quantum physics, that when we observe anything, and we have an expectation of how it's going to come out, that is what affects the actual reality. And I'm not going to go into the whole quantum properties. I'm going to talk more about that in this Happy Me, Free Me program, where we need to understand that the nature of light changes its manner, its behavior, depending on how we observe it. Light will change and will radiate. Listen clearly. Light will change the way it shines, behaves, and interacts with your reality based on how you expect to see it. The movement changes based on the observer, based on how they expect and anticipate for the outcome to be. And so this teaches us just in science. I mean, we don't need science to increase our Emuna, but it's fascinating to understand that depending on how I look at something and what I anticipate for it to show me, that is essentially what I will experience. So in this program and in general, in these 3 weeks from Purim to Pesach, we, through the program, and just you in general, need to understand that we are going to be going through, while we're cleaning for Pesach, we're going to be going into those unresolved, painful places, those triggers, those behaviors, those unsettled emotions. And we're going to slowly, very gently, go through a process of unraveling them, of correcting them, and through that, seeing Hashem more and more in terms of where He's guiding me. He's going to show us from Purim to Pesach those fragmented places, those places that we're being invited to join in, to correct. And every time we meet that painful situation, the reason why we're being shown that from Shemayim is because we're trapped in there. That's our Mitzrayim. We're shackled in it, in our psyche. In our psyche, our brain is yelling out, yearning to be redeemed. That memory, that's stuck. Hashem wants to take us out of our Mitzrayim. Why? So He can bring us to the promised land, the land of freedom. So we're being invited to look at these painful places, these painful situations. The soul wants to be redeemed, and Hashem wants to redeem us. He wants to fulfill that first promise that He's the one. Ani velo sharaf, it's Hashem, no messengers, only Hashem who will take us out of our Mitzrayim. And so whether you are part of this program, Happy Me, Free Me, or you just go through this in your own subtle way, just know that you are being invited, not because you're supposed to be left in the pain, but that you're supposed to create unity. The greatest distance that is between heart and mind. And it's our task to bring down into the heart, to truly want what we know is true in the mind, to draw down the Emuna that we have in the super consciousness that's being drip-dropped into Chokhmah Bina Dat, to bring that into the heart, because the heart understands. The heart wants to understand what the mind speaks to it. So it's extremely important that we just don't go about mindlessly from Purim to Pesach thinking, oh, it's just one Chag to the next. Hashem is close to the brokenhearted. Hashem enables us to come closer to Him, to open up, gather those broken shards, offer them up to Hashem, and ask Him to take us out of our Mitzrayim. Ask Hashem to take us out of those painful situations. There are things, there are parts of us, there's glorious light of self that we have yet to discover, and we wouldn't know to look for it unless we were nudged and triggered into those painful places. So this is the best time to initiate and go deeper into healing work. Not only do we continue this work after Pesach and going throughout the Omer, leading us to Shavuot, but there's a healing. Pesach is called Chag HaMatzot. Why matzah? Because matzah is known for its crumbling quality. We recognize how fragile our nefesh, our lives are, and how much more stronger we need to muster up that strength to reveal and become that godly being, living in that godly image that we were given by Hashem. So to just really summarize this process, the process that, God willing, we're going to be going through in this amazing program, and it's really offered particularly between Purim to Pesach, but it's a 3-step program that we need to be using every moment. It's a process of 3 stages: to correct, to transform, to heal, according to Keter Shem Tov. To surrender, that's step number 1. To yield, to submit, to humbly accept, no matter how bitter the circumstances are that I'm facing right now. We need to know we are finite beings. And we always have to remember that we don't see the full picture. And again, we dedicate a whole class to each one of these steps, because even in the 2.5 hours for each class, and there are recordings, so if you can't join live, that's not an issue, because we have different time references and abilities. But the idea is, it's not even enough, the 2.5 hours, but we want a glimpse. We want to do meditations. We want to journal. We want to question and probe what it means to really humbly accept. In the second class, in the second step, we're going to deal with separate. What does it mean to separate? Separate away from the difficulty, distance, discern. We want to be able to analyze, go deeper into the situation. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, to extract the light, to take away the chol, the klipa, and to look at the kodesh, right? Look at the kodesh. What light waits to be revealed? What noble message? What's the message in the bottle? And then finally we get to the last stage, which really is sort of like you just drop into it naturally, the sweetening stage, where we find the holiness. We anticipate all throughout the process. We anticipate, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we will witness some level of transformation, of finding the holiness, experiencing the growth, the light, the lesson, and using the experiences that were once perceived as a diving board, use it as a springboard. So this 3-week, 3-step program, this whole process between Purim to Pesach, the whole process of going from a happy me to a free me, we're actually going to come into this program with one issue that we're going to gently focus on, one triggered emotion, an area of stuckness, a relationship, a limiting belief, something, some relationship, a person in our lives. And as we follow these 3 steps and we understand them in a greater depth, we journey through them each week in each class. We're going to probe, we're going to investigate, we're going to question, we're going to meditate and contemplate, and we're going to honestly seek out the godly message in the bottle. And we need to utilize this time, because this is a beautiful time for the soul's transformation through every single one of these steps. And this is all based on Jewish psychology and the Baal Shem Tov. So Be'ezrat Hashem, let's enjoy the Purim energy. Let's enjoy the healing journey from Purim to Pesach. Be'ezrat Hashem, let's join together also in this program, that we can go through it together. It's a very deep, but yet very freeing process that is so important for us to learn, that our Jewish sages and Hasidic masters have left behind so many tools for us to utilize, so that we can make it through from this galut to Geula and experience the greatest amount of treasure and light and closeness of Hashem. And it's interesting, because there are many commentators that say that once the Geula comes, we're actually going to yearn for us to be thrown back into exile. And one of the reasons is because we're going to realize how much every step we take right now, every initiative that we empower ourselves to become, that, and every time we believe and anticipate the healing and the light and Hashem's presence to be guiding us in every step of the way, we will realize the value of every single one of these moments that we have the opportunity to experience right now. So let's take advantage of it. Be'ezrat Hashem, it should be filled with a lot of happiness, miraculous energy, and really celebrate. Li'Yehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason ve'ikar. We should celebrate that today, in today's presence, in today's in this week, and in our current events. Be'ezrat Hashem, sending you wonderful Emuna wishes for a beautiful day, beautiful week, and miraculous events in your own life.